this on Miami Dolphins. The pressure, he's in trouble. Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle. It's a Dolphin touchdown. Throwing deep upfield on the near side. Man open. Touchdown! Looking deep. He's got a man. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it over the touchdown. Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. 1, 2, 3, let's go!
All right, huddle up. We're going to crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, 80. Wait, set. Drivers, start your engines.
This is the Finish Line.
I coached some great offensive linemen in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. BallGame.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we welcome you back to another episode of the Finish Line. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, the legendary Richmond Webb, the Triple OG, the Mr. Man, the man who pink. It's not pink for him. It's North Pacific Wild Salmon, Mr. BallGame.
Salmon.
How are y'all doing tonight?
Oh, salmon.
Real men don't call it pink. They call it North Pacific Wild Salmon. You know why I say that? Because I don't know if you guys saw the Met Gala a couple nights ago, boys, but newest Dolphin, Cam Smith, he made his appearance at the Met Gala, and that's why his new name is Killer Cam Smith. If you ain't seen him, now you know. Killer Cam Smith.
Player.
All right.
Welcome.
Player. Straight from the
we know where BallGame
Himalayas.
got his inspiration.
Oh, no.
Oh, well, you know.
Man, 20 years
I'm a
later.
little older than him, so I inspired him, I would like to believe. You know what I mean? Like you say, real men.
I don't think you
wear
inspired
salmon.
him to do that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You might have inspired the
Well,
color.
nah,
but I don't
not
know
so
if you
much.
inspired him to do that. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh man, I miss the time when Cameron was running wild out in these streets and with those pink. The fact that he actually found I said it last time too. I posted this on the show. The fact that he actually found the flip phone, the exact shade of everything else he was wearing, like you got to give him points. Anyways, Richmond BallGame, how are y'all doing?
Man, I'm doing good. We was together. What was it? Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Me, you, Kevin, and my favorite Martin, this and that, and we missed Mr. BallGame again, but we held it down for the second day of the draft, this and that, and kind of talked about it on the show at the end. But based on what we had to work with, I thought the Dolphins did a really good deal. At first we was thinking a tight end and maybe an offensive lineman, but after we selected Cam Smith, and you start putting up the highlights and kind of informing the people and educating them on that. No, this dude is a true baller. And then I think he also made the statement that, this gives the Dolphins insurance, with X. You got Ramsey, but you got X, this and that. And This guy can play. He can step up, and it helps give you a little leverage when you got that. So another added piece to the defense, which I know Mr. BallGame is definitely happy about. I'm sure he's going to expound a little bit on that since he put that baton down from last week, and he got his sockeye.
No, he put his
salmon shirt on.
He put his dessert, his soup spoon down because he was fine dining last week during the draft.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, I hit him up.
Napkins on the left, BallGame.
Yeah, I hit him up Friday night, right? Because I was missing my boy Wednesday night, and I'm messing with us. Man, let me get the keys to the truck. He like, oh no, you got it, man. They up under the mat. So I was like, nah, bro. You trying to set your boy up. That's way, way, way too easy, man. I know them South Florida cats. I know he was packing. Somebody's out there in Valet, just go get it. I said, no, brother. I need to be on the show Wednesday. You trying to put that pain on you, bro. So, man, no, just good to be back on the team. Got everybody back together, this and that. And y'all can tell why he laughing. You got to watch that cat, man. He be smiling and watching it. How you doing, Mr. BallGame?
Bro, I have nothing but love for y'all, man. If I got it, man, y'all can get it, bro. Like real talk, man. But
okay.
Yeah, man. Track season's officially over, man. I missed y'all last week, unfortunately. So to everybody out there, listening and watching, it was definitely tough not being here, but I think y'all did an amazing job. I was able to tap in and talk with some people back and forth in the chat and whatnot. Throughout some of Wednesday's show. So you guys did an amazing job. I expected nothing less than that, but I'm glad to be back. And at the same time, man, I think the Dolphins did an amazing job, bro. You know what I'm saying? They got exactly everything that I think we needed in terms of – there's a lot of question marks in that secondary in terms of health and where the guys would be after injuries from last year. So going and getting a guy like Cam, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, shores up and gives you an insurance policy in the event that one of the guys comes back and it's not them. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to go off of, and I like to tell myself that like they have eyes on the ground and feet on the ground inside the facility a lot more than I do. So I don't question the direction they go a lot nowadays because they've seen these guys, and going and getting a guy like Cam, that makes sense. When you think about, Trill went down to the end. Needham was hurt. Who else? Who else got hurt?
Everyone, man. Bethel was freaking playing. You know what I mean? X constantly nagging groin, right? Like, who else got hurt? Someone else got hurt. Remember who did we sign off the street and they got hurt right away? Remember we signed that guy? Who was it? They were relevant too. Remember, it was a relevant name. I forget who it was. We chose them over what's his face. We chose them over Rosenhaus's guy. People remember. Someone will hit us up in the chat. Remember, we signed that kid off the street. So
it's not coming to me right now. But either way, I think taking him there because I watched a lot of South Carolina football.
Alexander.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, go ahead. South Carolina. You watch a lot of South Carolina.
So I knew. I watched a lot of South Carolina. I mean, I watched a lot of college anyway, so I knew who he was, and the pick didn't bother me one bit because him having played behind C.J. Henderson and J.C. Horn, he got a lot of run even when those boys were there. So he was definitely an active part of that secondary, and for all intents and purposes, you got a guy that can come in and play inside, outside. You know what I mean? He's very aggressive. Yeah. He needs to be, a little technique in there to get him to hold his water a little bit out on the outside so he don't cause a lot of those over aggressive penalties. But for the most part,
he can get handsy.
He's comfortable out there. Yeah, he can get a little handsy too. Yeah, but I like that, and the other picks they did, I think they did an amazing job too. I'd say that the kid that they got from Stanford, he's a poor man's Chase Claypool. Because Claypool was a kid, he came out of Notre Dame. And then they converted him to a wide receiver. Waller was a wide receiver that they converted to tight end. His issue was that he couldn't hit their threshold for weight, but he had really good blocking skills, and he also
after the catch,
he has after the catch, and he can run the routes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he just never couldn't keep the weight on in college, so they made him a wide receiver. But in theory, in high school, he played tight end, all these things. So I don't like. I mean, I like it. I like the hybrid thing because then that doesn't limit them in the packages where they spread you out. You know what I mean? They go empty. Things like that.
Yeah.
And he can win some matchups because he knows how to get open. So a lot more than what Gesicki gave us in the run. Run out the catch and create.
Well, I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a better.
Oh.
I think he's going to be an easier transition than Tanner Connor to that position. I think he just has the easier skill set to translate.
I do. Yep, I do. Plus he will commit to blocking.
Yeah, but let's talk about this because we want to keep getting your thoughts here, ball game on the draft. I want to pick your brain on this because I find it funny. Everyone knows I've been banging the table for Devon Achane for freaking months and months and months now. But number two, like a couple weeks ago on this very show, we had a conversation about all these football players that are track stars now, and we got a kid who he's a football player that is a track star. He's not a track star trying to be a football player. You see his vision. You see his intelligence, his high IQ in open space, and when he takes his angles, he's so elusive. He's a quick cut runner. Like he is a football player that's a track star. He is not a track star that is a. Can you explain something? Because I want everyone. Because I've been telling them, but you can explain it better because you coach these kids. I've been trying to explain to everyone because everyone's freaking out about his weight, boys. Forgetting that Moser came in 2 pounds heavier and he's 200 pounds. He carries it no problem. Didn't lose any explosiveness. But let's go even deeper than that. I've been trying to tell these people. He cuts for track. You're not running a football body on track. You have to have a runner's body. You got to start cutting. Can you talk about now? Like we've seen him, but you've seen his frame. Kevin was up here. He made the comp. I agreed with it, co-signed it, and everyone on Twitter ran with it. Work done. All right. When you look how he bounces off guys, and it's crazy. Anyway, so can you talk about his body and even Richmond can speak to this too. The transformation. Are you guys worried about his weight, knowing that he was constantly cutting for track, but now he can transform his body? Talk about that a little bit, ball game, because you coach these kids.
Now, there's a necessary switch that has to happen in regards to the two different sports. So what you get is a guy being able to effectively, through nutritionalists, add on quality pounds that won't take away from the top end speed, which is and generally the weight gain is just to be able to deal with the punishment associated with taking the hits and being able to give back some of that energy back. But at the same time, as he's progressed, right, he's comfortable. Or he's become accustomed to cutting weight for track to be more streamlined and cut through the wind and things of that nature. But the adding on the pounds constructively and healthy wise for football, that's just another aspect of him being able to manipulate and have control of his body. And I don't see it being an issue. I think where he's probably the most optimally going to be able to perform and still be able to not lose anything is probably going to put him somewhere around about maybe 201, 202.
Perfect.
And that's comfortable for him. That's not a bad deal. That's perfect for the NFL because that's still going to allow him to have access to his elite quickness, his ability to cut, plant, get out, change direction, all those things without there being this sacrifice of any of his intentions. And it's not really that big of a deal, but people would have to understand that there are two different bodies that's associated with this process and one heart, though. And this kid has nothing but a huge heart. But it's going to be positively added on weight, you know what I'm saying, to be able to allow him to sustain himself through the season because it is a grind, and running backs and the cut. His cuts aren't as he reminds me a lot of when you look at him, right? I think when they finish with him, he's going to look a lot like Barry, right? But not with those hard cuts. His cuts are a lot more smooth and not as to his body as well, right? He can stop on the dime, turn, he can pivot and do all those different things without sacrificing any of his speed. Barry used to give you the shoulders along with it to fully make a guy stop and have to stop their entire motion. He does his shifting and his change of pace and his acceleration and deceleration so smooth that guys don't know what he's doing. So he got him before they can even get to him to decide if he's going to break down or not. But the weight, I don't see the weight thing being an issue at all. I think it's going to be perfect for this system that we run because all he has to do, find his crease, plant the foot, apply the speed, cut back, look inside. If it's there, take it. If it's not, ride it as long as you can. Get what you can get and get done. And that's perfectly fine for him where he is in terms of what I project his body size and his weight to be. So I don't think it's that big of a deal, to be honest with you. I think he's perfect for this system.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait, Richmond. Gig 'em, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I know you got to be excited that they drafted this kid because, I mean, you've watched them. And someone asked me this, Richmond. I'll get your thoughts on it because you watch them as intently as I have. I think he's much better than Isaiah Spiller. Like, I don't even think Isaiah Spiller's in the same realm as this kid. And I really liked Isaiah Spiller coming out last year. Yeah. But Achane, to me, is just a different level and different tier. And when you project what his body's going to become, the way he already is a pinball. Imagine when he's going to be at 200. Good luck to all of you trying to take that man down. What are your thoughts? Further thoughts on because you've had more time to simmer on your guy here. And have you had any thoughts on Higgins or that tackle we added Hayes?
I was happy to see that we added him, but to go back to your point on Devon Achane, we had Isaiah Spiller. They were two different style running backs, but they complemented, each other. Achane is a much faster guy. Spiller ran good between the tackles, this and that. So they complemented. But what I really don't think, it was a struggle last year for A&M. The offensive line wasn't gelled, and a lot of times, even though we didn't have the season we wanted to have, he was like the workhorse for the offense a lot of time because we had 3 quarterbacks, and so for a guy to be that size, to come in the SEC and to carry the ball and carry the team like he did, I think he's going to be fine. And I think even using him in screens and his hands are good enough to even if you wanted to put him in the slot, sometimes you could do that. So it's just and he can he does kickoff returns, so it's multiple things you get. He's just not a one-dimensional player. And I think a lot of people just look and say, oh, he's 5'9", 185, and he's going to get killed, this and that. But if you hadn't really watched him, like you said, couldn't wait for track and then got to put it back on, he's going to be fine. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm sure Coach McDaniel and everything is excited to get him in there and start working with him. But I was happy to see we did sign a couple tackles. I know they are one was a 7th round and then a couple of free agent offensive line we signed. But I think the thing that stood out to me, and I think I saw it today, was that the Dolphins didn't exercise the 5th-year option on
Austin Jackson and BallGame.
And so I think
I want it all in ones. Remember, no Igbenogany, no 5th-year option extended.
So I think that sentiment.
None of them got one.
Yeah. So
no, they didn't. No, they didn't even get their 5th-year options, right?
Yeah.
Tua did.
Yeah. We got to earn. I mean, hell, none of them have shown it. Hell.
Oh no, I agree.
We ain't got his yet.
I'm just reminding you of our bet we made a few years ago. That's all. Hey,
I didn't forget. I didn't forget.
Oh my god! Because listen. You know what? This is a perfect segue. Let's talk about this. Actually, $2 from Russell said, "I know you comped Dundee chain," and he says he sees a little Barry Sanders too. Ball game. There you go. Listen, Barry Sanders is one of my favorite players ever. Go ahead and comp him away. I'm fine. You're not gonna hear a complaint from me. I remember. Listen, you remember when the Fox robots were in hockey and on football, and you'd always be watching your game on Sunday. Doesn't matter who you're watching. Don't matter what time you're watching. If the Lions are playing, they're going to break away to a Barry Sanders highlight or two during the game you're watching. Like, a most unbelievable one. Oh, my God. Such a shame he retired. He retired so young.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just mentioned a few names. We just talked about the draft. So let's segue to this. Do you guys see any players significantly impacted by this draft class? We can talk about a couple, but the one that it's glaring to me, and it's not because of our bet, it's no Igbenogany. I mean, like, Trill's back, Needham's back. All these guys are back. It's like you know, and then we still got Justin Bethel and Keon Crossan all the way down there too. It's like we got like 8 or 9 corners here. Like, this is no joke. Like, this man, and they might have to take it on the chin, the $2 million dead cap. You know, if you want to talk about Noah, sure, but at Noah or any other players you guys have seen have been really impacted by the outcome of this draft?
Well, when I thought about the question, I thought about impact, but not necessarily in that way. And
okay,
and
go ahead. Hey, go ahead.
We talked about it last week, but with the draft and like signing Ramsey and stuff like that, I think Jalen Ramsey, man, I think people gonna see a whole nother beast with him at that safety position because he can just freelance. He can be the ball hog, and I think you're gonna see his game go to another level this year. I think it's just, I mean, with Chubb and Phillips applying the pressure, you got 2 lockdown corners, and you got a safety that can just go hunt. Man, it's gonna be nasty. So this guy here, I'm expecting a big year. You know, as long as everybody stays healthy. But that's the first guy I said as far as impact based on, you know, the addition. And like you said, Cam Smith, I'm sure he's gonna work into the lineup, and even if he's playing nickel or whatever like that, and you got Needham, it's just it could kind of be scary what we can do if we shut down the run and force people in the pass. This can be ugly. So that was the player that I kind of thought about, that I was thinking as far as impact. I think he's going to take it to a whole nother level. So yeah,
I like that. Hey, positive impact. It allows them to use him like a chess piece, right? Like, hey, however you take it. So, BallGame, let's hear your thought. And Martin says Achane style reminds him of Adrian Peterson. I mean, keep throwing out these great comps. You're making me all look great. So go ahead.
I think at this point right now, man, the fact that the Dolphins went out and I think they did also up to date on a major job in the UDFA signings as well. I think everybody, no one's safe other than the veterans, and even there, you're gonna be having young guys looking to push them for time, and I think that's what you want across the roster. In active competition at every space where, you know, you got young guys hungry to get on the field, and at the same time the vets aren't ready and willing to relent up anything. But, you know, at the end of the day, these are some great options and some great problems that the Dolphins have to sort through this roster and pick the best 53 that we can actually put out there. You know, I've been an advocate for Noah just because I thought maybe he just, you know what I'm saying, they didn't do him any favors by taking him in that first round. I thought maybe at best he was a late third, early fourth round talent. And then that comes with a lot of expectations. And me personally, outside of the time when Jared Alexander was there, I just didn't believe that they did a really good job of actually putting quality coaches back there to actually help these guys out. And with a guy like Noah, who was so lacking in the technical aspects of the position, I just felt like he really was two or three years behind, and you know what I'm saying, and having a true understanding of the position. But, you know, I stand on what I said. If they give him an opportunity and they get somebody that's willing to dial in and help him, and he can take to it and he can understand it, he might be worth something. But, you know, competition is what it is, man. So if he don't make it, he don't make it. I mean, I don't have a problem giving it to you in one, but that just means that somebody else was better on the roster that's going to help us. I mean, that's another. Somebody else took the spot. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's 4 years now. So, I mean, I had kids that had 2 left feet. And by the end of the second year, they would at least be able to go out there and give me 10 to 15 reps to spell my starters if need be. It don't take that much if you committed to the process, but he's a physical specimen. So I think they're just going to give everybody an open shot at all of the jobs that don't include Holland and Jones and X, and everybody else just you go get it. If you're the dog, or, you know, in Cam, because you got him under contract now, so he gets a spot. He gonna get a shot, and they're gonna give him an opportunity to start off his career in a good fashion. But everybody else, Needham got to prove it. Unfortunately, after the injury, that he's got something to offer. Jones got to do the same. Crossan, who else? Trill, all those guys, man. There's a lot of question marks on a lot of these guys. And, you know, when it all shakes out, you never know who might be the last man standing. But at the end of the day, for me, it really don't matter as long as they pick the best ones that's going to be able to do the job that's required of them in this Fangio system. So I think that secondary is, that's going to be interesting to watch how that all breaks down, and how they deploy Ramsey with Holland.
Yeah,
because I think that's what you was alluding to, right, Richmond? That
that's what he
Holland now
was.
gets
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go out there and be free. He gets to be able to play free
You get to be
because
free.
we saw him at his
Yep.
best when he had Jones and Howard, and they were both
Yep.
healthy. He looked like a future Hall of Famer right out of the gate. So now he gets that back.
But Richmond's
Like
right. They're
real
probably
talk.
going to use. They're going to use Ramsey in this,
Use
all over
Ramsey.
nickel. They'll use him in the box. They'll use him up top too. They're going to. I think,
Yeah.
because he's been pretty adamant on, social
He
media that
thrives
he's
on
a
that, though.
DB. That he's a DB now. He's not just a corner. He's a DB in Fangio's system, right? That's what he's been telling everyone. So
Put me
let's
where
talk
you
about
want
this. Okay, so after the first round, everyone was flipping out that, and I've said this before, guys, and, I'll say it again. You got people out here that would rather us reach for need than take BPA on our board, which I think is just, that's not how it works, okay?
Ridiculous.
You know what I mean? If you got Cam Smith, a top 30, I got him as a top 30 player, and then, your best lineman, because I kept telling all y'all, I think Bergeron was the guy at 51. Once he was off the board, I think offensive linemen, they weren't thrilled with who was out there. I mean, we saw how far DeJuan Jones dropped, right? And I think it was just a matter of Cam Smith was there. He was top 30, and these people are out here acting like they want them to reach for, if their next lineman is 63rd on their board, but Cam Smith is 28, you want them to reach, especially with what we covered, with all the holes that are going to come up next year. Needham, right? Cater Coe, who's going to be on his last year next year. We don't know what's happening with X. We don't know what's going to happen with Trill. We got a lot of question marks. So, and one of the big reasons, boys, because the biggest surprise for me was Darnell Washington. Now, word came out after the fact that, Darnell Washington slipped. We were talking about serious knee and ankle medical red flags that teams flunked him. Teams legitimately flunked Darnell Washington and took them off their board because of his medicals. Because you're 6'7", you're that size. If you got knee and ankle issues already, and you're a lumbering runner, that's going to be issues down the line. You know what I mean?
Right.
And what's funny is Dov Kleiman, all my reporting about DeJuan Jones and people having character issues with him and him wanting to play basketball more, all that kind of stuff that Ryan Roberts, told me, and we went, all it ended up coming out today that's why DeJuan Jones fell so far, was because people didn't think he loved the game of football. He was telling NFL teams in interviews his dream was to play in the NBA, not the NFL.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Nuts, bro. And then the weight fluctuations on top of that. So, you got Washington, who everyone agreed was a freak athlete and had great tape with potential, bombs because teams flunk him on medicals and no one wants to invest high on a guy with those kind of injuries. And then you got DeJuan Jones, tapes out of this world for a right tackle in this class, but because of character issues. It's crazy. What was your guys, before we get into the question here, what was your guys' biggest surprise of draft night? BallGame, let's start with you, because we didn't, have you up here.
Yeah, that first round pick of McDonald that the Jets jumped out there and panicked into, because there's no way. I mean, I had that guy rated as at least the 7th edge, and you took him where they took him, and I think they took the tackle right before somebody snatched the tackle away from him, and they panicked.
Yeah,
I think they had They did. I mean, it was pretty obvious that they really didn't.
Apparently, they're trying to trade back, and no one was playing ball with Joe Douglas. No one was willing to trade back. They're like, nope, knock yourself out, man.
Hey, you Aaron, you think that's you screwed yourself. So, and I did like the aggressiveness of the Texans. I thought that was pretty ballsy on their part to just stay right there at 2 and 3. And they got a piece for both sides of the ball. And I love Will Anderson Jr. And I didn't have a problem with C.J. Stroud, but I think that the Texans really did their due diligence to push down their, saying that the information around Stroud, so they didn't have to worry about nobody trying to leap them to go get him.
Yeah.
And then he was sitting right there, and they got their guy after all. No one could convince me that they were just going to go with Davis Mills. I did that for a minute. And then these damn Eagles, man. Like one thing the Eagles did for certain, bro, they loaded up on some real deal football talent. And then
Bro, how much of that Georgia national championship team is on that team right now, bro?
Yeah.
You see, people are doing the Eagles logo, and they're replacing the A with the Alabama and the G with the G in for Georgia.
They legitimately,
bro.
You got Jordan Davis. You got this. What's this kid that just went?
Jalen Carter, my
Carter.
guy.
You got Ringo.
Keely.
You got
they got Keely.
Freaking Keely. Yeah.
Nolan Smith. Didn't they draft Nolan Smith?
Nolan Smith.
They drafted Nolan Smith.
You
right?
got Jacoby. Yeah. You got Dean over there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They got Philly, Georgia going on for real, bro.
But
and
ball
all
game.
them dudes
Those are yeah, bro. Ball game. Those are a lot of those key pieces of that. Like we got one of the few other key pieces, but they got basically all of them. Jeez, it's crazy, bro.
I mean, their GM smoked the draft, in my opinion. Like this 2 years running now, where they legitimately went through a process and they went and plucked some of the best defensive talent in the country, and it's right there, ready. And then the crazy part is you got Bradbury and you got Slay with Ringo and who's the other kid that they took sitting right behind them waiting in the wing now at this point. So they set that outside boundary corner for.
Didn't they get Eli Ricks?
There you go.
Eli Ricks. Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Rick. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, they killed it, bro. And then I was surprised. I was a little surprised at Levis. He dropped, but I think it has a lot to do with his attitude and things of that nature.
And he fell to a part where no team there really needed a quarterback.
The team really needed a quarterback. I was amazed. Richardson went as high. I didn't think he was gonna go with. I don't know. I think he's a project still for me. He's a physical specimen for sure. But like I watched the dude throw 21 incompletions, bro. He's got a lot of work to do. Like,
oh, bro, you know what they're justifying, bro?
Teams
Dude, I heard the GM from Indianapolis said, apparently he told everyone in the room ball game, well, we're going to have games where, he's 13 of 30 for 127 yards and, an interception, but he's also going to run for 150 and 2 touchdowns. I'm like, okay, however you want to justify yourself, knock yourself out.
So you telling me you're okay with your quarterback going out there and taking a pounding like that then? Because basically that's the same thing that got Lamar in a situation where he missed 10 games in the last 2 seasons. Well, all that excess running around and getting hit and all that other foolishness to my man, whatever, bro. That was just still moving. The defensive players are still taking shots on players if they get a chance to get to them. That's just crazy to me. But aside from that, man, I thought it was kind of lackluster, you know. But I salute Philly. Yeah, I salute the Texans for doing what they had to do to get what they felt they needed. We ain't had no first round pick, so I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, I was just concerned about us going in and reaching, but they went BPA, and that's always a good place to start and do things that make sense for your organization. Because we kind of loaded technically with outside of the offensive line. This team's loaded, bro. Yeah. And I just I'm okay with BPA when your team sits on paper like I sat. So
let's start with you, Richmond. Give me your grade for their draft before we get off the draft here. What would you grade the Dolphins draft? And, do you have anything to say on the UDFAs? Because I'm going to tell you, that Aubrey Miller kid out of Jackson State, brother, I am a big, big fan of that kid. He was All-American SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. Zeke Vanderberg won the Buke Buchanan Award, FCS Defensive Player of the Year, UDFA. You look at Michael Turk and the bloodline he comes from with his uncle, Matt Turk. That center we added, Alama Ulave. He first team All Mountain West at San Diego State. And then a kid I really like because I watched actually the night before the 3rd round after we got off with Kevin. I actually watched a little bit of this kid, Garrett Nelson, second team All Big Ten, top 10 in tackle for losses, Big Ten. Yeah. Any thoughts on the UDFA class, and what was your grade for the Dolphins draft class?
Yeah, overall, I gave them A. I mean, I know we didn't have a first, we didn't have a fourth and a fifth, but like I think we did, like you said, the best player available at the time we took those, and then the people we selected as free agents, I thought they did a tremendous job with that, and it kind of made me go back and reflect what Chris Greer was saying. You know, he wanted to create competition, and that's something BallGame was addressing in the secondary with all the pieces we got. You got to earn your keep to make sure you make this football team, and like you were saying with the center, that's good because if he works out, maybe you can move. You got an optional Connor Williams guard. We talked to that. That was more his truth. So you can really solidify the line if a couple of these guys step up and really, take off like it expected. So I give them I thought they did a really, really, really good job. So hats off to them. And I think the thing now is, and I'll go back to what BallGame said, is you get these guys, but we need coaches that can actually develop the talent to help them get to that next level. It's good to draft players and stuff like that, but the coaches a lot of time are responsible for helping that guy, putting the finishing touch on him where he can actually become that pro, long as he's got the attitude, willing to work and become a better player and stuff like that. So that's what I would like to see, rather than always going out and get free agents and stuff to fill needs. You got to do that, but when you can start developing within and bringing these players up like that, that's when you really got it going. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Like it. And we always hit on at least one this year. And you look at this class, we brought in 21, plus we've invited a whole bunch of other players, including former XFL players, to minicamp. You got to think maybe 2 or 3 of these guys might push for 2 of those last roster spots, and then a couple other guys might push for practice high up on the practice squad, right? BallGame, what's your grade? You talked a little bit of the UDFAs. What are your thoughts on some of the UDFAs, but also what would you grade the Dolphins draft?
So initially, I put out that I gave us a B- because we didn't. I was pissed about the fact that we didn't have the pick and how they took it from us. So you really can't give us. I really didn't want to give us an A, just based on the fact that we in the first round didn't have any way of doing anything. But I changed that to a B because I do really, I really do love the Cam Smith pick, man. Like legitimate. That's my forte, and I can see this kid really being an intricate part of what we do this year. He'll play earlier. Often, I think he's going to be an amazing contributor for us. And I saw anytime we can draft a player that I think is going to immediately give us something back, I think that's a plus. So just him alone, I go with a B. Like I said, I spoke about the kid from Stanford, Higgins. I like the hybrid. I like the hybrid idea because of the fact that he was effective, even though Stanford really ran the ball like 63% of the time. When they did pass the ball, he got open. He made some really good catches for them. He scored some touchdowns.
He's a leading receiver.
Yeah. And for a team that really didn't have any receivers. And then people ask, like, well, why are we going to switch him to tight end? Well, we switched him to tight end because in college they didn't have. Unfortunately, you think Stanford is one of those big programs, but he just couldn't keep the weight on. But the NFL nutritionists are different. I think he'll be able to put on enough weight for it to be able to stick, add it on effectively, so that he can actually bulk up a little bit more and not lose a lot of that top end speed that he has. And I think he's going to be a major. I think he'll give us something too. Maybe not early, but a little bit later. But I do believe that he's going to be a little bit more of a piece for us than Tanner Connor right out the gate. So Tanner's going to still be a project, but I think this kid's going to play before him. I like the fact that they went and got the tackle, right? But we waited to the 7th round to get one. I just don't know if that kid's going to be ready to challenge.
He's going to tackle Eichenberg. I think they're going to kick him inside.
They're going to go kick him inside. Yeah, then that works for competition there. And then
And ball game, we brought
Rest, man.
we brought that sneaky good UDFA in from the U DJ Skyfe. That kid can play guard, bro. He's a sneaky
that's
good
right. He can play
addition.
guard. Yeah,
Man.
yeah. I think they did I think the Dolphins this time around, bro, they did a really good job of selecting guys that they know without a shadow of a doubt are gonna be able to bring some hunger, bring some skills along with them to the process. And even though they didn't get drafted, they're gonna be hungry to prove that they belong. And that's what you want, right? Because at the end of the day, to get down to 53, it's got to be the 53 best names and affiliations and love players. That kind of goes out the window until the roster is established, and then it's the colors over the names. And I trust them. I really do at this point. I'm at a real comfortable space right now with front office of the Dolphins, and I trust them. I trust that they are going to put the best 53 on the field on Sundays, and that's going to be successful for us. What else was I going to say? I got a real man crush on Miller, though. Real talk.
Aubrey Miller, he's a stud, bro.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna make the roster, bro. I get the vibes. He's making the roster, bro.
Yeah, I have a real man crush for that kid, bro. Yeah.
I got.
When you go back and look at his tape, man, he flashes everywhere, bro. When you go back and pull him up, he flashes everywhere.
I was watching the All-22 of when he played Campbell, and Campbell's where we drafted that Julian Hill kid from that. The only true tight end.
Yep.
Yeah, the UDFA. He's the only true tight end we brought into the process. That kid's deadly up the seams too. Watch that guy, and he's fast. That Julian Hill kid is intriguing. But anyways, Aubrey Hill, I think, is making this. I don't know, guys. I think he's making this team. I'm just gonna throw it out there. And I think Turk is gonna. I think Turk is gonna push Matt Bailey, bro. Sorry, Jake Bailey, because Turk can boot it, bro. He's a good punter. Should have been drafted.
It's gonna be some real deal competitions for some roster spots, and that's what we need, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
Something really worth looking at every week, trying to see out who's on the cusp, who's moving up the list. You know what I mean? This is what we need, though, because you're gonna go take down the Chiefs or the Bills consistently to say we're the best. We got to beat the best, and you need the best 53 to do it. So.
Yeah, I agreed. Okay, so we've talked about the draft, we talked about the UDFA class. Now let's get to the question here. You said you're confident in the front office. I did a 3 takes video where I said people got to trust the process here. Are you confident the Miami Dolphins have a plan to protect Tua Tagovailoa? They brought in Brandon Shell, they brought in Cam Fleming. On top of that, guys like Dalton Risner are still out there if they're not happy with the guard situation. But the one, and I keep talking about this, and I feel like I'm the only one that keeps talking about this, but the post-draft presser with McDaniel and Greer, they basically said to the media, you guys are more worried about the offensive line than we are. And I'll just throw it out to you guys. I was talking with EM Dolphin fan about this. Okay, I was talking to EM BallGame. And we both said to ourselves, that don't sound like guys that are relying on Austin Jackson and Eichenberg to take them to the promised land. You know what I mean? That just, you're not going to sit there. There's always going to be a little worry. They didn't extend them and they didn't give them the 50-year options. That doesn't sound like guys who are relying fully on those guys to take them to the promised land. Your guys' thoughts on, let's start with, I know where BallGame's going to go. So let's start with you, Richmond. Do the Miami Dolphins have a plan to protect Tua Tagovailoa? Are you confident they do?
I'm confident that in the event that I think the thing, let me say this. I think the thing with Austin Jackson is he needs to stay healthy this year. If he can stay healthy the way he started out last season, I think he'll be okay at right tackle. I think that with some of the later round linemen and free agents we drafted, I think they solidified maybe the guard position. I think it's going to be definitely competition for Liam Eichenberg. Like you said, you signed Shell. He wasn't bad last year in the event that Austin Jackson bit. I think we might have one spot that we might need to. That a boss lady is. There she go.
Wow, she's getting big, eh?
He getting big. Hold up,
Yeah,
man.
man. Yeah, man.
Full head of hair.
Hmm.
Hold on. I gotta ask. Sorry, Richmond. Are her eyes
Come on with
blue?
Yes, sir.
Did you see that? You didn't notice that, Richmond? Her eyes are freaking blue, bro.
And pick that
And
up.
usually they should be changed by now, right?
Yeah.
Usually a baby changes by now.
Yeah, they're not changing, bro.
Oh, good luck to you, ball. Well, tell the parents.
You already know how
good
I
luck
get down,
to them.
bro.
Good luck to
Yeah,
them in
exactly.
17 years, bro. Tell them that, bro, because I got one upstairs like that, and my wife told me, "Good luck to you." Anyways, sorry, Richmond. Go ahead. I just had to tell you that.
Neither one of y'all got nothing to worry about because, hey, I already know how y'all is.
Yeah.
The people that's coming to their house, they better be correct. That's all I'm going to say.
First thing they hear is the Home Depot music. The next thing they hear is a bang. The next thing is blackness. All right. Go on, Richmond.
All right. That's it. I'm like, man. But yeah, I think the thing is, and like you said in the press conference after the draft, when they said they're not worried about it, and then when I saw that today, when they didn't exercise that fifth-year option on him, it's like, hey, bro, you got to come on with it, because if not, we got something else in the. That's what it spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? If I was playing for the Dolphins, this and that, I was picking. I'm like, they don't offer that. I'm like, the light bulb should go off. So if he's not, I don't know what it is, but if Shell or whatever, I think they got a succession plan. So I'm not worried about it. But I think that was a message sent. If he didn't get it, I definitely got it. So you need to be ready to play this year, because if not, you might not be around. That was big to me when I heard that.
Now, I want to get BallGame's thoughts here, but see, before we do, am I the only one who's worried that he stays healthy, plays decent? And it's you see it all the time where athletes either they underperform or they can't stay healthy. Then that contract year, all of a sudden they get that extra pep in their step, bro. All of a sudden, they flash a little bit more, and then you sign them and they go right back to what they were. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the only one sitting here like Austin Jackson looks like the perfect candidate for something like that. Anyways, BallGame, your thoughts. Are you confident that the Miami Dolphins have a plan to protect Tua Tagovailoa?
Yes, I do. I think that McDaniel is one of the smartest minds in football on the offensive side of the ball, and I believe that they'll do a lot of amazing things up front in terms of scheming up different pass protections and things of that nature to shore up the deficiencies and ensure that Tua has a clean pocket and he stays upright. I believe that wholeheartedly. I have nothing in my mind that leads me to believe that they can't get this done. I think the biggest thing, I agree 100%, when you don't sign a kid to his fifth-year option, that's sending a message across the board, and I believe that it needs to be sent at this point. It's been 4 years now, and we've been waiting on something from Austin. So put the fire to his ass, and he got to be on. It's grown man time now. Ain't no more excuses. Can't talk no more about what you went through to get there. All these things. It is what it is, and I like it. I like that. For the first time, we're not just signing players and just hoping that they pan out. You're making them go and earn it, and that's really what it comes down to. At the end of the day, if you're a man and you really want to be here, you're gonna do what's necessary to stay on the field. You're gonna perfect your craft, and then you're gonna move forward. I do believe that because he's had 3 years of lackluster performance, that does give them some leverage in the negotiations process. And if he wants to stay around and be with the Dolphins, then they're going to, I'd use that to my advantage, but I'd sign him to a contract that's not going to break the bank, but you still got to prove it. And if you do prove it after 2 years, then we might give you a little bit more money. But really what it comes down to now at this point is that they're going to make these young men grow up and be grown men, because that's what it takes. They're playing a grown man game now. Right? All the excuses or any other things that slowed them down or took away from them being able to be the best versions of themselves at this point now, all that's out the window. I don't even, I always, me, I give them 4 years. I believe that if they come out extremely young, they need 4 years to mature to fully who they're going to be, because it's a big ass transition. Some kids are in some positions, they just maturate a little bit faster, but you know what I mean? The linemen, D-linemen, things of that nature. Look, look how long it took Christian to get there. But Austin has
you saw it every year with Christian, right? With every
you saw it every year with, yeah, for
Christian,
sure.
Right? So,
But we also knew right off the bat though that Christian coming from Clemson was damn near one of the best linemen they ever had to come out of that program. So we knew it was in him. It matter of trying to figure out what they needed to do to put into his toolbox to make him successful, so he could be the better version of himself in the NFL. Still don't know it, Austin. I do believe he was playing a lot better before the injury at the beginning of the season last year. But that's the guy that's got to show up and sustain that for the entire season. You know what I'm saying? Barring any injuries, that's big. I think that's the biggest concern right now. Can he stay healthy? Right?
Yeah.
We saw him play when he was semi-healthy. He did play halfway decent. So I don't think it's really that big of a deal for him other than work the body, man. Figure out what you got to do with the body, stay on the field. So
agreed.
I'm okay with it, though, man. I have all faith in McDaniels.
Go ahead. You got all faith in so do I, bro. So do I. I got faith. And Frank Smith, they fired our offensive line coach because he wasn't.
They brought him over for a reason.
Yeah, and they can admit their mistakes and they can move off of them. So, all right, let's add this then. Segueing into this, one free agent move this team still needs to make. Attach you guys with that. Do you guys have anyone out there that you think is one last free agent move to make? I'll start with mine. Mine's Cam Fleming. And I always go back to me and Richmond's conversations with privately and publicly on the show, where we've talked about how if they can get the right tackle figured out with Robert Jones, Eichenberg, or Hayes, or whoever wins that battle, we can get through them this year with one link that needs help, as opposed to it's almost impossible to help out two links. One guy who's going to be out on an island by himself. That's just spreading it way too thin. So for me, I think, Cam Fleming is the one free move that puts this team right in the driver's seat, ready to go here. Whether he starts over Austin Jackson or you got a competent backup if Austin Jackson can't hack it. What are your guys' one free agency move? We'll start with you, BallGame.
I'm not Achane. I'm not 100% sold on our running back room, but I do know that money wise it's going to be a challenge to acquire a talent like Cook. I have a wish list. He's at the top of it. You know what I mean? You still got to figure out Christian Wilkins' money. And there's a lot of things that happen after June 1st that free up some money for us, but you're asking a guy who's been at the top of his game for God knows now, last 4 years of his career to come and take a pay cut. Yeah, he's coming home, but will he do it is the question. That definitely improves that running back room tenfold, in my opinion. And then you can have, you can take a guy like Ahmed or Gaskins and let one of them go, and then keep Wilson. Have four backs to do some type of rotation. But I don't know. It's Cook for me, man. I don't think and I don't know any other team that wouldn't allow a middle linebacker to go. I hate Jack Campbell left and went so soon off the board because he would have been perfect for us too. But I don't know. That's a tough one because we know that the glaring need is at the offensive line position. I agree 100%. One having to worry about one spot is a whole lot better than having to worry about two. And I just don't really know who's out there though.
Brandon Shell or Fleming are going to be
what that dude named Dalton
shot. Reisner, the left guard. Dalton Reisner.
In terms of the money, right?
They'll be cheap,
but he doesn't look so good to me.
Yeah, I know he didn't look good last year at all. Richmond, who do you got one free agent out there?
I don't have a free agent, but I think you both hit the key positions, and I think offensive line would definitely be priority over running back. I was even excited to have, like, if you get an opportunity to get a kid like Cook to come home, this and that. But like you said, it's definitely money is going to possibly be key. At the end of the day, it is a business. No matter how well you want to come on play for somebody, you're not going to just work for free. And he's definitely proved that he still has value. It's just a lot of time the running back position is not what it used to be. I guess the receiver is a new position, this and that. And so after 4 or 5 years, a lot of teams, and I think we even saw Detroit do that. You know, they drafted Gibbs out of Alabama, and then like a day or so later, they traded Swift to the Eagles, and you know he was a good running back. So, but I think priority is definitely offensive line. I think, like you said, if you can show up one, but with 2 question marks, you know, Eichenberg and Jackson is based on them. You know, Austin Jackson definitely staying healthy and being able to stay healthy, and then Eichenberg just getting stronger and being able to play more consistent and to show up the middle of that offensive line. You definitely need that. So it would be free agency, offensive line free agency, and then probably running back. And then I didn't think about it, but yeah, if you got a dog at middle linebacker, that would just, man, that would be an all-time defense right there, because you just got all the other pieces at the corners, the D-line, the secondary, this and that. So, but I would probably say priority was offensive line.
Yeah. All right, guys, we got 477 of y'all in the room. Please smash the like button. Subscribe if you are new. You guys got any final thoughts before we get out of here? BallGame, start with you.
I think it's really important that people really start to look at and understand how championship teams are constructed. It's not always going to be about big names sometimes. Sometimes it's just about guys that can come in and do an above average job at a position of need. And you get more consistency by not trying to chase names, but having guys be able to, cohesively come together a lot sooner, not fast, without a lot of egos. Cornerback is a position where you got to be a dog. You got to have a mentality of, this is my island. Nobody comes on my island. I shut everything down on my island. Safeties are more help-minded in terms of lending their strengths to areas of the field that are glaring weaknesses in the pass coverage. But I think what we have right now are guys that are willing to sell out for the bigger cause and greater cause, which is, again, the defense, right? The total defense, right? I think across the board, when people start sprouting out all these names, they forget that the big names come big price tags, and we're in a really weird space right now, money wise. So we need quality. You know what I'm saying? Quality guys that will come in and do a job and not have to be worried about paying them through the nose to get that. And I think there's still some guys out there that can possibly do that. But the core of what we need right now is pretty good. And the other fillers for the roster are just going to be guys that really earned it. And I think we're going to be 100% happy and grateful that this process is going to play itself out in training camp this year, because they have some really young, really, really good players vying for some jobs that probably going to shock. There's going to be some shocks. There's going to be a lot of people shocked to see guys given a real opportunity. Shit. If you think about it, the Miami Heat are right now in the second round of the playoffs, and they got 7 guys that never got drafted playing on their team right now, and they just knocked off the number 1 team in the East, which was the Milwaukee Bucks. And you know what I'm saying? And it can be done.
Be honest.
Coaching is key, and I think we got a really good coaching staff this year. We're one of the greatest minds for offensive side of the ball and defensive side of the ball. Looking forward to these guys doing some amazing things this year. So,
shout out to Marvin. He said, "This month is my birthday, May 27th. Happy early birthday, Marvin." Final thoughts, Richard.
Happy birthday, Marvin.
Yeah, mine is just because you don't know the name, give these kids a chance to show you what they can do. I mean, it's almost impossible to know every player. Normally, depending on where you live, you might watch SEC or you might watch Big Ten, you might match Pac-12, but just because you don't know the kid's name doesn't mean that he's not going to be a good football player. And I can just remember we were doing the live chat, and when we took Smith and then we took Achane, it was a lot of backlash, and I remember Reason was trying to educate, the fan base on that, because I think after we took Smith ball game, we had probably, what was it, about 1,100 people in the room, and then we took him, and
we had like 1,300 people.
Yeah, 200 people jumped off the deal, but they came back for the next pick. It was funny, Reason was letting us know that, but it's just like, man, you got to give them a chance, and then a lot of the people that was doubting them will be the same people that's shouting for them on Sunday. So, just because you don't know them, give them a chance, and trust the process, this and that. Everybody's not gonna pan out, but I really like what the Dolphins did, this and that, and just, hey, we got to ride with them. So that's my final thought.
I saw a really good little post a couple of days ago about it. They talked about how these fans, and it wasn't specifically about the Dolphins, it was just fans in general, right? How they do all this research and they get themselves all worked up for the position and certain players of the position, and then when their team they follow goes off of that and doesn't pick someone, right? It's all about endorphins, right? When they take the players you've looked at and the players you're up on, you have a dopamine rush, right? But when they take the players you don't have an eye on and you aren't thinking about, it's a total opposite effect. And it just, I saw a lot of content creators up here just bashing the pick, and it's all because they're ignorant and they never watched the kid before. And my whole thing is, listen, I get it, you want to go live on the draft for clicks, right? Because you want to feel important. But if you're going to sit up here and bash the kids or pass judgment on these kids, at least have watched the kids or know what you're talking about. I ain't trying to hear you read off scouting reports or attitude takes from Joe Schmo who won't attach a name to it on Twitter. Come on. That's lazy and that's ignorant. That's period. Both of those things tied up into one. So congratulations for winning, all you people who were doing that, for winning the Jabroni of the Week award, like I told all y'all when it went down. So
you know what? Also on that point, you bring a great point up, and then you got to think about it. It's 32 teams, and a lot of the teams like the same players. So just like we was mentioning in the show earlier, sometimes if the guy gets taken that you want it, you got to go with the best player available, or you got to be able to make adjustments. And I think that's the point. And like you said, people get set on this guy, or we got to take him, and we don't, and they get.
Look at the Jets adjustment for Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones goes off the board, and they panic for Will McDonald. Okay, that's a team who didn't have their ish together.
Will McDonald.
We had our ish together. Look at who we took a top 30 player and a top 5 corner in this draft. Stop. And the other 4 went in the first round. Anyways, we're gonna get out of here, guys. We'll be back here next week. I'll be live tomorrow with Neil Driscoll. More on the draft, more Dolphins news. It was day 2 of OTAs today. And before we do get out of here, I do want to show everyone this. It was day 2 of OTAs today. So I know BallGame, he gonna be real happy. He gonna be real happy. Because look at the smooth footwork in the back pedal from Cater, buddy. In that 4. Oh. Give him hit the Rick. Yeah, hit him with the Rick Ross ad lib. Oh.
Put on some weight. He put on some weight
too. Ready to ball. Yeah, because he got David Cantor. Here's Jerome.
Yeah,
is he a Crip?
Look at him.
Oh, sorry, he's a Blood. Jerome's a Blood. Hey, the quick footwork. The quick footwork, you gotta love it, huh? And then there was actually some more too. Here, I'll show you guys. Let's get to the other stuff here. And you see, these boys are locked in, man. These boys are locked in out here, gentlemen. Guys, so it is, we have now entered phase 2 of OTAs. Now, you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Well, that means you can do 4 hours a day. All coaches are allowed on the field. Individual and perfect play drills are allowed. No offense versus defense. No one-on-one. No helmets. And you can do all the stuff you could have done in phase 1 as well.
That's a follow me the daylight drill. Follow me the daylight.
And who is that? That's Salvin Ahmed, huh? Look at that.
Salvin Ahmed.
Here we go. Look at Christian Wilkins putting in that handwork, that technique work, baby. Go get that money, kid. Just don't get too much.
Look like a
Leave a little for the rest of them, huh? Leave a little for the rest of them. And then, oh, by the way, just because you might not have, I don't know if you guys saw this, Devon Achane, word is he'll be wearing number 28. Okay. So he's looking like he's going to go from 6 to 28. And I don't get screen printed jerseys. I'm going to get a Devon Achane screen printed jersey. You damn right. Cam Smith didn't even wait for Byron Jones to exit the building. Didn't even wait for June 1st for Byron Jones to hit the bricks. He said, give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. All right. So he's gone. And then a couple of the numbers here, just so everyone is familiar. Hayes, the lineman, who I think will be kicked to guard, he's going to be rocking good old 76. Uh-oh. Getting too close for comfort, eh, Richmond? Just too off. And Higgins, 84, rocking the old Chris Chambers numbers.
That's
Love it. Love it. I used to love Chris Chambers, huh? That guy, him and Randy McMichael, underrated combination in Miami, how I see it. So, anyways, gentlemen, look at the footwork. OTAs are back. Rookie mini camp in a couple weeks. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And next thing you know,
football is football.
And it's gonna be back, baby. And we're gonna be able to do our 1-2.
Yes, sir.
You know, our little 1-2 in our North Pacific Wild Salmon shirts. Don't worry, I got them too, ball game. Anyways, please, everyone, smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you are new. Again, I'm going to be live tomorrow with Neil Driscoll. I'm planning this prospect profile with Cam Smith. Just, hey, with these issues I got going on right now, I'm going to get it to you as soon as I can. And then be out on the lookout. I'm going to have a post-draft analysis show with Dante Collinelli and Ryan Roberts, and we're going to go further into this draft class and break down some of these UDFAs, strike while the iron is hot. And then because, hey, we're going to be moving off and we're getting to, I think rookie minicamp is in 2.5 weeks, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So please, all of y'all, do me the favor. Smash the like button on the way out. Help us out with our friend Algorithm. If you smash that like button, it goes a long way. So please help us out. Smash the like button on the way out. There's still well over 400 of you in the room. We appreciate all of you spending some of your hump day with us, and we will see all of y'all next week. Until then, fins up all day, every day.
Fins up.
Hands up.